Welcome to the Dare and Well podcast with Rita Mercer. Are you ready to heal your attachment wounds? Lean in and get ready. It's going to get deep, my dear. This episode, it's going to be part of a 4-part series going through each attachment style. These different attachment styles, they show up in all different types of of relationships. So at work, with our friends, with family, with your partner, and even the relationship that you have with yourself. As we walk through each attachment style, I want you to pay attention to what feels true. I want you to allow yourself to find ways to be open and be curious so that you can help to increase your awareness. And if you know better, you can do better, right? There's so much freedom in being true to you. This episode, it's going to focus on the fearful avoidant attachment style. So again, each episode, we're going to go through different ones, but there's no shame. There's no shame if you find yourself in one of these attachment styles. I just encourage you, just don't stay there. I encourage you to dare to heal, dare to grow, and dare to live deeper. All right, let's get into it. Today, I hope that you walk away with learning to understand more about yourself. I hope that you understand why you crave intimacy and closeness in relationships. Like that's a human need. But also when you're craving those connections, you feel overwhelmed. You feel like you want to shut down in those moments. I hope that you walk away with new ways to learn to begin to restore safety in your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. So as we think about the origin story, so where does this fearful avoidant attachment style, where does that come from? So when you think about it, all the attachment styles, so all 4 that we're going to walk through, all of them are originating from in vitro. And so, but this fearful avoidant attachment style, it looks like this push and pull pattern in relationships. So I'm pushing away and I'm trying to pull closer. And as you listen, I hope that this episode can offer you grace and loving kindness by switching your mindset from what's wrong with you to what happened to you. So letting that label of shame go instead of shaming yourself of what's wrong with me? Why did I do that? So not what's wrong, but what happened? What happened to you? And this framework, it'll help to give you grace and love and kindness. And it'll also help you to learn to lean into all those environments and the caregivers from your earlier formation of your identity, your earlier formation of development that shaped how you learned to cope, that shaped how you learned to relate to others in the past and how you're doing that now in the present. Many times the fearful avoidant attachment style, it was formed in unsafe or unpredictable environments. In these spaces, we learned that it wasn't safe to trust our caregiver. We learned that our caregiver was 2 things, was a comfort and they was also could be a threat. And so we just didn't know. We had to live in this dichotomy of these comfort versus threat. And so what we learned living in those spaces, we learned to live in this emotional chaos of mixed signals that included also trauma. So emotional trauma, physical trauma, sexual trauma, trauma is, and so what is trauma? So let's unpack that for just a quick second. So trauma is our perception of loss of safety, loss of life, emotional safety, physical safety, those things are what we perceive as trauma. And so we learn to live in the emotional chaos of mixed signals, trauma, or neglect. So what is neglect? So neglect could look like emotional neglect. So emotional neglect can look like your caregiver withholding their attention, their affection, their love, And it may show up in words, it may show up in tones, it may show up in physical touch or the lack thereof. It may also look like physical neglect. So not having food. And so maybe you had food, but maybe it was unhealthy food. It may look like clothes. It may look like not having adequate shelter. And so all these different ways of living in this dichotomy of like not having your basic needs met, your nervous system learned that connection with your caregiver and those type of in any relationship, that looks like danger. That looks like it doesn't feel safe to connect. And so your nervous system feels that and it encodes it. And you start to take that same encoding into future other relationships. The core belief that happens in fearful avoidant attachment styles, and honestly with all attachment styles, it develops from unmet needs that start as early as in vitro. So in vitro, that's like when you're in your mother's womb. And we all learn from an early age that we need to find a way to meet our own needs, especially if our caregiver can't meet those needs for us. And what we do is we learn to adapt. We learn to create these belief systems to some way try to make sense of our world, our reality. And then what we do is we rubber stamp it and apply that to every future relationship. And so we develop this core internal struggle of wanting connection with others, but at the same time, I fear the same connection that I'm craving. And so it's wild. I want connection with others, but also I'm so fearful. So that's the fearful avoidant. And so some of the core beliefs, let's walk through some of these for a quick moment. So core beliefs about self, that looks like something's wrong with me. It looks like my needs are not important, or I feel ashamed to ask for my needs, or I can't trust my needs. I can't trust my instincts. The core belief about others, it may look like the people that I need, I'm so fearful that they can hurt me. So I keep them at arm's length. Some of the other core beliefs about others, it may look like love is not predictable. I can't trust love. I'm fearful to fall in love. It can also look like closeness. It's going to just lead to pain. Again, so that's why I just keep people at arm's length. Core beliefs about relationships. We also learn that connection feels unsafe. Again, this dichotomy of I want safety, I want intimacy, but it also overwhelms me, or I'm so scared that it's going to harm me. The fearful avoidant attachment style will make someone have this underlying survival belief that staying guarded is going to keep me safe. So they put up these walls with the hope that they're going to stay emotionally safe because they're keeping people at a distance. So now let's take a moment to think about what it feels like in our mind emotionally and in our body somatically. So when we think about this fearful avoidant attachment style, these little highlights that I'm going to give you, these are not all encompassing, but they're just like high level ways to help you to tune into what feels true to you when you think about, is this something that I do? So primary emotions look like fear, looks like shame, looks like confusion. The logic that, hey, I can just override fear, that's not true when you think about this fearful avoidant attachment style, because fear is so hardwired into us for survival's sake. It just simply bypasses our cognitive function in our brain. Sometimes we're like, I get so fearful, I just shut down. One, you don't have to have shame about that because that's biologically what our body is wired to do to keep us safe. And some of the ways this shows up in our body is this freeze. I'm sure you've heard of this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so this freeze response is that I freeze, I shut down. I shut down in my thoughts. I shut down in my body, my motor action. I dissociate. So dissociating means to just check out. So checking out of time, place, checking out of relationships, checking out of a conversation. like a just check out of our body. And sometimes with the body, it can also feel like a tightness in our chest, a tightness in our throat. Maybe your stomach may feel like it's all in knots. And so these are some different ways that you can start to tune into your body. So how does the fearful avoidant attachment style show up in adult relationships? Well, I'm glad that you asked. The truth is, it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust and be open when you don't feel safe, emotionally or physically. And many times we'll just create these stories or these stories of threats about things that are many times just not true, because we've had, again, these past experiences where it has been true. And so we just, again, rubber stamp those and take it into our current relationships in an effort just to some way make sense out of the confusion that we feel, this inner turmoil that we feel within our mind, within our relationships. And the fearful avoidant attachment style, it may show up as, especially in adult relationships, it may show up as this intense longing, but also this sudden pulling away, this sudden withdrawal. So again, this push, this pull type of engagement. Again, this could show up at work. This could show up in friendships and family. This can show up in just how you try to connect with others. And many people find themselves self-sabotaging in these relationships. Self-sabotage in friendships, again, in relationships at work, with their career. And so notice, when do you do that? Are you self-sabotaging? And then checking in with yourself. And then after all of that, feeling this intense feeling of shame after you were being vulnerable. So I try to be open, I try to be vulnerable, but many times the shame messages, they come from being vulnerable with people and in spaces that it wasn't safe to do that. So, for example, are you that coworker, or do you know a coworker that overshares? Like, way too much information. Like, I don't know you like that. We are just coworkers. Or have you been hanging out with a new friend or even on a date and they start to tell you their whole life? So this may not be you. Maybe this is a friend that you know, but they are oversharing and telling you their whole life story and they barely know you. Suddenly you feel like you're a therapist, or suddenly you feel like you're wanting them to be your therapist. One, that's unhealthy. And then two, like, how do we do it better? How do we do it better so that we're not stuck in this cycle of shame because we shared in unhealthy, unsafe spaces? Again, no shame, but I want you just to notice so you can have more opportunities to increase your awareness of what's not healthy, so you can unlearn some of these unhealthy habits. So now that we've unpacked some of these different pieces of the fearful avoidant attachment style, let's think about, how do we heal? So for this attachment style, it's important to give yourself grace and loving kindness, because these relationship patterns, again, it's not what's wrong with you or what's wrong with me or why does this happen, but it's like, what happened to me? So giving yourself grace that these things happened so long ago, way back in your childhood. But in the future, I want to encourage you to read the room. So are you oversharing at work when it's totally not appropriate? Are you oversharing in a new relationship, a new friendship, a new dating relationship? I want you to seek out ways to be safe before being vulnerable. Don't let this false intimacy allow you to lower your need for emotional and physical safety. So much so that you take down your guard, you lower your boundaries, you throw your boundaries way out the window, you lower your self-worth. And then, again, you're back into the shame cycle because I did it again. But I want you to give yourself permission to allow yourself to trust, to build trust slowly. Don't rush it. Dr. Brene Brown, she calls it trying to hot wire a connection. So thinking about a car and it's broke down and you get out the jumper cables and you're trying to hot wire a connection, you kind of jumpstart it. It works, but it only works temporarily. And so many times people are trauma bonded over all these things that they overshare just to quickly get to know someone, to build this connection. But true connection, true healthy relationships are built over time. And so you may get this immediate rush of dopamine when you're trying to hotwire a connection, but it doesn't last because it wasn't built on a solid foundation of safety and trust. It takes time, it takes consistency to heal and repair all these old wounds, to repair all the belief systems that was built back in the day, and all the ways your nervous system learned to respond. It takes time to learn to unlearn all those things. It takes time to detach all of those things from your body, your spirit, your mind. So slow and steady, just like the turtle, slow and steady wins the race. At Darren Well, I work with individuals and organizations across the world by teaching them ways to notice what's going on in their mind and their body, and also ways to calm and to reset their nervous system with coping skills and mindset strategies. So if you're a leader wanting to bring mindset and stress management to your corporate space, I got you. If you're looking to bring in a guest to your small group or to your event, I got you. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, I got you. You can connect with me at darrenwell.com, or you can email me at info@darrenwell.com to get started, and I can create a customized plan that's individualized for you or for your organization to best support you with wellness and mindset goals. I have over 10 years of experience in helping people find freedom in their mind, their body, and their spirit. And I love the work that I get to do. Just let me know when you're ready, and I got you. Until then, I do hope that each episode of the Darren Well podcast gives you so many new tools and encouragement to dare to live, dare to love, and to dare to lead well. So as we wrap up today, I just want to walk you through a brief guided meditation to invite in more safety. With your hand over your heart, so hand over heart, so that connection to self, connection to this present time, connection to this space, and also to ground yourself with your breath. So let's take a deep breath in and then out. Beautiful. And then let's just notice these words and allow those words to settle into your spirit, settle into your heart, regulate your nervous system. Right now, I am safe. I am safe. I can let go of fear. I let go of shame. I let go of confusion. I am in control. I don't have to rush. I can go slow at my pace. I can trust myself to meet my needs. I want healthy relationships. I crave healthy relationships. I honor myself with love. I show myself love with healthy boundaries. I can learn to trust others and still be safe. I am safe. I am safe. And all is well. So take a deep breath in, just a reset. So deep breath in, and then out. Beautiful. Good job. And as you take another deep breath, I want you to let go with your out breath. Let go of the fear. Release the shame. Let go of the confusion. So take a deep breath in, out. Beautiful, beautiful. I do have a couple of reflection questions that I wanted to help you to just continue to dig deeper after this episode if you want to get your pen out and journal. So a couple of reflection questions. I want you to tune into your body. When you feel this intense shame or fear or confusion, where do you feel it in your body? Where do you feel it when you feel unsafe? And another reflection question I have for you is what word, what object, what thought or space helps you to feel more grounded and open to connection? So what word, what object, what thought or space helps you to feel more grounded and open to connection? All right, that's all for today's episode. Wishing you a beautiful day, my dear. Until next time, keep living, keep loving, and keep daring well. Take care, my dear. God bless. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of the Daring Well podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to continue exploring the world of holistic wellness, be sure to subscribe to the Daring Well podcast so you never miss an episode filled with transformative conversations and actionable advice. Thank you again for being part of the Daring Well podcast community. Together, let's dare to live well in mind, body, and spirit.